I can't stress the importance of subtractive processing enough. When you remove stuff that is causing your perception to be clouded, you are then exposing yourself to the stuff that you want to hear. Resonance suppressors typically are meant for audio restoration. And while that serves a huge purpose, especially in my mix workflow, Smooth Operator is meant to be more creative. It's meant to really sculpt and shape your tone. Well, let's start with your vocal. We're going to listen to the whole thing through without any Smooth Operator on it.
Am I losing my mind? I'm so far from myself.
Okay, now with Smooth Operator engaged.
Am I losing my mind?
Dude, first off, dude, that's fucking crazy, bro. Let me explain how this works. This middle node here is your threshold. So you could raise it to bring the threshold higher so that your signal doesn't breach it. And what that does is it gives you less processing. You could bring it down to compress it even further. You have more processing, just like a compressor. The more the signal breaches the threshold, the more processing you'll achieve with it. With this, I am kind of kissing it with in terms of how high I'm keeping the threshold. However, this is not a boost. I don't want anybody to get confused by these nodes here. When you raise them, you're not boosting that signal. What's happening is you're actually telling Smooth Operator, don't process this area as much. So you're shaping this harmonic activity that by default Smooth Operator is doing just by analyzing whatever the audio is, and then you could pick areas where you could tell it to back off. This is it's almost like additive, but not quite. You're still suppressing signal, but you're leaving certain areas, either untouched completely or somewhat untouched. Now, if I brought them down, it would then create a sensitivity to those resonances in that frequency range, and you will achieve more processing without actually having to bring the threshold down all the way. These act as shelves. So what I'm doing with her vocal is she has this sort of character here. Let's solo it so you can hear him talking. There's this sort of bite and diction that you have in that area that I really like, and I don't want the plugin to remove as much of it as the typical mid-range. But basically, what you want to keep in mind when you're doing, especially on a vocal, just popping this thing in is going to control resonances. So using these nodes not so much as an additive EQ, but telling Smooth Operator to just back off. And by scrolling, you could change the Q. So if you scroll up or down, you'll change the Q. These act as shelves. So obviously, I want to reduce or suppress more of the harmonic action on the low end, and I don't want to suppress the harmonic action on the top end. And what this does, it almost gives you the illusion of adding, volume or adding gain, certain frequencies. I mean, it's really impressive actually from an SM58. This sounds pretty good. Let's listen to it one more time, bypass, and I'll engage it.
Am I losing my mind? I'm so far from myself.
Yeah, it's crazy. It thickens up. It gets you denser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it brings the vocal together more.
Let's move on to your mix now, which is going to be pretty scary. So we have a mix here. So this is as is. This was basically the mix that was delivered to mastering of your song Sleeping with a Ghost. And then what I did was I added Smooth Operator to sort of kind of tame some low end muddiness. Okay, pretty good. You could tell though, you know, there's a lot of low end in there. Let's see what Smooth Operator does. That's crazy, man. There's no, okay, the scary thing about this is there's no additive anything happening here. But because we're managing the harmonic content of certain frequency ranges, like you could see the low end is activating pretty heavily. The threshold isn't low, so we're not getting a shit ton of reduction. But because we're getting it in the areas that are needed, it almost sounds like the snare comes at high end, the snare comes out. Thank you for singing.
You're welcome.
On this. You sound amazing, and now you sound even better because of Smooth Operator. Smooth Operator is coming out tomorrow. Pick it up.